This has me thinking a lot about product planning at car makers.
Oh,
We're in
it
the
does.
brand new Honda CRV, which shares chassis components, interior components with the smaller HRV, and they both share it with the brand new Civic.
Yeah.
And we
yeah.
really like the brand new Civic in every form.
I hated the last CRV. That was the 5th generation CRV. It didn't feel like it was up to Honda standards.
Okay, all right.
As a new driver, my first car that was just mine was a Honda Accord.
Yep.
Then I got a second Honda Accord. I grew up on a Honda family. I love Hondas. But that 5th generation CRV did not feel up to standards, and that was just by virtue of the fit and finish, the feel. It just felt ultra cheap. And things have changed entirely for the 6th generation Honda. I am proud of you. This is a different vehicle.
They were worried. They were really hoping you'd be proud. That mission accomplished. Yeah, that's good.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
It's clear that Honda listens to journalists because in the press materials, they are very proudly stating it has a physical volume knob.
Yes, that was the thing of the last generation Civic. It first came out with like a little tab swipe thing on both the actual screen here and on the steering wheel, and we and most consumers and most journalists all hated it, and Honda went, okay, you want a volume knob? A volume knob, and they still did it, which is great. There's actual buttons that we've
But
talked
look,
about.
everybody,
Seriously,
we put one in.
But we've talked about it in the Civic and the HRV as well. The switch gear here for the HVAC is excellent. It feels really, really nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's Civic switch gear.
Yes, exactly. And the way that the vents work with the little, what are these,
The
little stalks here, the
joysticks.
joysticks to get the vents to work, all of this is working every bit as well as it did in all of those other models that share this chassis. It also has me thinking about product planning because of the 3 vehicles that perfectly show what is happening to the market, and Honda sells all 3, the HRV, the CRV, and the Passport. All 3 we have driven recently.
Yes.
All 3 are 5-seat CUV SUVs.
Yes, yes.
All 3 are not really designed to be off-roaders. You can kind of off-road the Passport, but they're not really off-roaders.
Well, they're going that way with Trail Sport flavors.
They are all $5,000 to $8,000 more expensive than the one below, and they are all incrementally larger than the one below.
Yeah.
And every manufacturer is doing this. I'm not slighting Honda. You've said it before. You have to have it, other money walks away.
Yes.
It's so painfully clear when driving the CRV after having recently driven the HRV that this is the product planning, and how easy it would be to come in for an HRV and leave with a CRV. Because it's only $5,000 more.
You can see the sales
You can
happening.
see it for sure. Now, what's interesting is because this shares a chassis with the HRV below it, the size jump here is minimal. It's a big going here to Passport.
Yeah.
It's minimal here. In fact, this interesting stat has 1 inch less headroom than the HRV below it. Otherwise, most of the stats are exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit of an inch bigger in most of the features than the HRV, but not by much. The Passport is a big jump up, which still makes me wonder, and I've said this before, about do we need the CRV? However, we do because this is the one that comes in hybrid. This is the reason this exists. Honda's expecting this new hybrid is going to make up 50% of CRV buyers, and to be honest, with the existence of the HRV and the Passport, I think this should be 100% of the CRV, because they should just come hybrid.
I agree with you. My friend Todd hates the 5-seat CUV category.
It's a plague!
So much.
It's a plague.
He loathes, like fiery hot suns, like hate all this category. However, this is what people buy.
Yes.
The market has spoken.
Yes.
And it's been, you'll notice it's been a creep. Since Honda rebadged an Isuzu Rodeo in 1993 and sold it as the Passport, that's why that's still in their lineup.
Yep.
It wasn't a Honda then.
That's a good point.
But it now has
That's a good
become.
point.
So it does have this legacy now, 30 years of Passports. But so does the CRV.
Yes, yes.
That was one of the first that Honda buyers went, whoa.
Yep.
Kind of inflated Civic Accord thing that actually meets my needs. So it's been this creep over time.
You're right.
It hasn't been just a sudden introduction.
No, not at all. Not
but
at
they
all.
have to be very careful as
Yep.
far as positioning and where that is at. But
Yes.
the dollars matter, and that's why you come to Honda, because you want a great warranty and you want something really good that,
Yes.
that drives well, is well built, you can just rely on. Everything about this is likable, and I have to give credit where it's due to Honda because they listen to journalists, they listen to their customers. Everything about this, from body, structure, driving, performance, every single category has changed for this 6th generation CRV. If you have the old one, sell it and buy this one.
Wow.
I'm not
okay,
kidding.
You're selling cars now. I like it.
Since you're selling your 5th gen CRV, you're going to be shopping for these, the brand new ones.
Yes.
And with Autotempest.com, you can find dealers and you can actually sort through their inventory.
Yes.
Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so that know that we sent you when you're shopping for the brand new CRV.
And if you want to go way back in the history of the CRV, clearly Paul did not endorse you going back to just the 5th gen, but they've got them older than that. Those are also available on Autotempest.
Those are good.
Yeah.
1 through 4, good. 5th, not good.
So
6th,
1 through 4 on Autotempest.
this is the one you want.
But you can search that way. You could actually search based on the
can.
years. You can just avoid that 5th gen altogether, thanks to
Yes, you
Autotempest,
can.
or you can find the new one there too. But this is also that thing about shared chassis. The Civic chassis that is underneath this and the HRV is excellent.
It's excellent.
It's good dynamics at its core. If you want to put it this way, the bone structure is good. Okay, so while you're building
It's like when
other
you buy a
weird-
house and you tear
totally,
all
the
the
bones are good. The bones are
Bones
good.
are good, so you
I
can
know we
just
stripped it all the way down to the posts in the kitchen, but the bones are good. I promise you. Yeah.
It's like realtor speak.
Oh, it is. Yes. This is a cute little car.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
it's quaint. Anyway, moving on.
Don't
yeah.
ever tell a man his car's cute.
But I have to say, look, I know this is everywhere, and everybody has the 5-seat CUV, but you make a good point that Honda has storied names in their lineup. One of the things that helped the last one sell as well as it did is because that is a storied name that people know and trust. The CRV has consistently been the 2nd best selling car in this marketplace, trailing only the RAV4.
It's incredible.
Okay, they sell a ton of these. And I
Yeah.
actually think, to your point, this is enough of an improvement over the last gen CRV that I think the numbers will probably go up with this one.
It's dramatic. It's brilliant. Okay, well, this is the hybrid version. As Todd said, we generally like the hybrids better. They get off the line quicker. There's more power.
Yeah.
They're more efficient. And if you're looking for this size, really it's all about efficiency. And Honda claims 37 combined city highway for the city, 40 miles to the gallon for the all-wheel drive version. You can get this in 2-wheel drive, but 40 MPG, 34 in the city. Now that is going to change with your driving habits and the amount of weight in the car, passengers, but still, that is excellent. That's what you're looking for. The bottom 3 flavors of this CRV come with a 1.5 liter, and it's got a CVT. The top 2 trim levels are the Sport and the Sport Touring, which is this, the Press Car Special, because it's the loaded, fully
We're going to put everything possible on it because that's the way the world works. Yeah.
just shy of $40,000, which for a CRV is sort of like, what? CRVs are 40 grand now? Man, I didn't know.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to justify your dollars because this has gotten so good. Just the instrument panel, the build quality, the way it drives, it's such a leap in improvement, but you're getting efficiency, you're getting good power. The Sport Touring, that just kind of means package now. That just kind of means...
you're right. No, yeah.
The Sport Touring is the only one with the 19-inch wheels and the blacked out trim, and it's really doesn't have anything to do with how it drives.
It's not really the dynamics are, you have to get the Sport for the dynamics.
Get the Sport. No, you're getting it for the look, but this looks bold. It looks very interesting and compelling, and it's kind of back to what we know Honda to be. It's what Honda can do when they shut off all the outside world and they ignore everybody else and they just do their Honda thing. That's what you end up with when it's good. That's why we like the Civic. That's why we like the Civic Type R so much. So let's look at the styling. It's completely different than the 5th generation. Styling has a lot to do with the perception of what you drive and how you drive, but it has to be a good vehicle too. The 5th generation was neither. It looked weak, it didn't look interesting, it didn't look compelling to drive, it didn't look useful.
Again, he was a real fan.
Didn't look any of those things. All of that is the opposite in the 6th generation. It looks kind of rugged. It looks kind of sporty at the same time. It looks useful. There's a huge back trunk on this.
The hatch is excellent.
The cargo
Very good
area
size,
is
yes, for
amazing. There's room for people. It feels substantial. It drives well. And then the interior, like we're talking about, we love that Civic, the joysticks with the mesh vents and the easy to understand controls, the recirc button right next to your finger. Everything that you're looking for is just, it makes sense.
Yes.
You can just hop in and drive. I like the changes so much. This is back to Honda. What I like and know Honda to be.
And the last CRV didn't really look a lot like, it had some Honda cues, but a lot of the rest of the lineup looked pretty different than that CRV. This you could mistake for the HRV, which could be good or bad, but my point is they've at least aligned it with their general look right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the oddball standout. And it does that other thing. Speaking of hybrid again, this doesn't look like, look at me, I'm weird because I'm a hybrid.
Right.
It just, this is
looks
the
normal.
way it comes. Though I still say, and you have to drive, but I still say it should just come like a hybrid. That should be the CRV's
Totally
jam.
agree.
If the HRV is going to be the entry level and the Passport's going to be the bigger than this and frankly more utilitarian than this,
And
because the
kind of
Passport
off-road.
can tow up to 5,000 pounds. This can tow 1,000 pounds.
1,000.
Which is essentially means you may as well have gotten a car. But if the
Right.
CRV is going to exist and take on that storied name, let's make it hybrid and call it, and let the Passport and the HRV not be.
I agree. All right.
You got to drive it.
I'm driving.
Yeah.
This is back to peak Honda. I'm appreciating this. And again, if it's good, we need to call it out as good.
Well, we recently drove the HRV, and I think we were both pleasantly surprised by it because it is the entry level in their I guess, trifecta of 5-seaters. That's, I'm telling you, whatever that is. But the thing is, it is also woefully underpowered. I mean,
it's true.
It's in that category of, in some situations, you're going to be a little scared you don't have enough power. But it works well, and it does a lot of stuff, and it's still in this Civic chassis, which is good. This, because it's hybrid, has, did you think about this? Almost twice as much torque as the HRV.
Yeah,
almost
you're right.
Twice as much. 247 pound-feet of torque and 200 horsepower. And we have to talk about the hybrid system because it's not what I first thought it was. It's kind of like the old Chevy Volt, where you're using the engine kind of more like a generator than it is a parallel thing like a Prius.
That's true. This is not a plug-in hybrid. So the engine is always acting as a generator to power 2 electric motors. It does have 2 ratios now for high and low speed cruising, but that's only at consistent cruising when you're just maintaining speed. So for city and for highway driving, that's when the gas engine truly fully connects, and Honda refers to that as locking up. So it has 2 locking ratios. But for the most part, you're driving around with electric power, and I understand why they did that. If the gas engine is just constantly running at a high RPM and you're going slow, well, that's just annoying.
That was a big problem with the Volt.
Well,
you would be sitting there,
you're just
maybe
hearing
even
the engine
still at the
run.
light because the battery needed to be charged. The engine would turn on and get all excited and then wind up, and
At
this is
high
covering
RPM.
that. This is covering that.
Yes. So at consistent highway cruising speeds, yes, you're locked up, and that just gives you consistent, smooth power, which is actually a great idea. That's how this should be. So the engine output is measured in ISO net horsepower output. So you can't just combine the gas engine output plus the electric motors. It's consistent cruising, smooth output of 204 horsepower, as you said, 247 pound-feet of torque. But also, we're back to the all-wheel drive system giving you a 50-50 split, unlike the old 60-40. That's what you want in an all-wheel drive system. That's kind of like the old Audi Quattro.
Yeah, or
you
the
want
Subaru
all 4
thing,
wheels, or the Subaru thing. You want all 4 wheels just gripping the earth at all times.
They're scrabbling all the time, yep.
Honda also says it has hill descent control. If you're using hill descent control, then you have ignored the Honda satellite link nav system because you're probably lost, and that's not what you should be doing with your CRV.
Be out there in your CRV.
You should have bought a Passport Trail Sport.
Yes, you should have. No question at all. That's what it's for. There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so here, full acceleration. You can hear the engines running hard. It's got decent pickup. It's
all right. Yeah.
It's not the fastest thing ever, but that's not why you bought it. Again, back to the fuel economy. That's what you're really wanting: is the most space, the most passenger comfort for a good price and a good efficiency.
And it does.
That's where Honda scores.
You can hear it now. It does have those moments when the engine is droning on because it's trying to do stuff.
And it doesn't match
those moments.
what your speed is.
It doesn't exactly match what you asked for with the accelerator. It has some rubber band feel with noise that makes you think it might be a CVT even though it isn't. So it has some of those realities. But compared to the HRV, which had acceptable power and every now and then got a little scary, this has got what you need pretty much whenever you need it. It's just the noise sometimes is going to be disjointed and probably a little loud.
But on the other hand, I still think this is the one to get because you've got the CVT on the bottom 3 flavors
Yes.
that would also be noisy.
Yes, and less power. Yeah.
And less power.
And
I
less
think this
efficiency. It should be, seriously.
Yes.
Toyota did this with the Venza.
Yes.
The Venza is now only offered
Correct.
as a hybrid. So is their Sienna minivan. The CRV, if it's going to exist, this is the problem. It's got those 2 brothers, older and younger. This is the middle
Yes.
brother. You know the
Yes.
problem, middle child? That's where the CRV, even though it may have been
That's why
first
this
in the
needs to be
lineup,
the hybrid.
this is the middle child. It should be
Yes.
hybrid only. Forget that. We want to sell 50% hybrids. CRV is now a hybrid car. If you don't want hybrid, you get Passport.
Fully
Again,
agree.
5 to 8 up.
Yes.
Or you don't want to spend that much, 5 to 8 down, you're in the HRV.
But that justifies the sport touring, either sport or sport touring flavor. Sport touring just means you get a whole lot more stuff, and it's
All
it's a
boxes
different
checked.
package. Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's close to 40 grand.
But you know which one you're getting. You know why you got the
Yes.
CRV and not the Passport and not the HRV. You just got this. Yes.
Look, this isn't a handling standout. We don't need to really discuss
not its-
handling.
it's not
This-
its purpose.
Again,
Yeah.
you
Not at
don't
all.
need that.
Nope.
That's not why you
Nope.
bought it. But if you're looking for something that you're a Honda fan, it feels substantial. It drives well.
Yes.
I like the CRV again. I was kind of dreading driving this, but the styling tipped me off. As soon as I looked at it, I thought, this is 100% better. It looks brilliant. It looks rugged and interesting. You don't want to take this off-road. It's not the, let's take this go
its point.
rugged off-roading.
No.
Get to rail sport. But
the chassis underneath, though,
it's completely
Civic,
different.
The first time we drove the updated Civic chassis, which underpins all of these, we were all appreciative of the fact that it's tightened up.
Yeah.
It feels just taut and athletic, even though some of the cars made from it, are not intended
Yeah.
to be athletic.
Yeah.
So that is really worthwhile, and I don't think you find the dynamics of this disappointing because of what you bought it for. You're not buying it to do anything other than be, I would like SUV ride height, really good gas mileage, Honda build quality. That's the CRV.
all of Honda's safety systems, you've got wireless Apple CarPlay and
Yes.
Android Auto.
Yep.
This one's fully loaded. This is the one you should be looking at. Sport or sport touring, but still, this is the one to buy. I feel like this is a standout now in the 5-seat SUV category. And again, that can only happen when Honda has to shut off the outside world and do it the Honda way, do it how they're going to do it.
Interesting, okay.
And they came up with something that's great.
Well, I think, we're big fans of the RAV4, and that's the one that traditionally outsells this. And I think the RAV4 is also best in hybrid, interestingly enough.
Yes, agreed.
But the RAV4 does have some off-road spec about it. You can actually get the off-road version, okay, even though I don't really still think that's what that should be for. This doesn't do that. But hybrid for hybrid, I might take this over the RAV4.
That's a huge
I do
statement.
think that this is now absolutely worthy of being second or maybe even chasing first in this market segment, because it's the 5-seat utility vehicle that you don't really need off-road utility. You just like the space, you like the ride height, and the gas mileage is good.
I did notice that this is about as big as your Cayenne, your first generation Cayenne. Out of your Cayenne collection,
I happen to have 2 used Cayennes, yes. But you're right.
this
has
is
gotten
about
big.
that size.
Well, here's the thing. It's not.
this is why
much,
you like the Cayenne so much.
It's not much smaller than the Passport. That's the
I
thing.
know.
Yeah.
CRV. I'm encouraged.
You're offering this as the cheap Porsche? You going that far?
No.
It doesn't drive
No.
like a Cayenne. It doesn't. But you're right. Size-wise,
But
this has gotten bigger.
size-wise,
That's an interesting
if
point.
If
Yeah.
you were looking at a used Cayenne,
Yeah, okay.
you need to consider the sport touring hybrid CRV.
Did not expect that connection.
I didn't either.
Look at you. All right. Huh. Okay.